At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Ampire. Hey babies, hey babies, hey babies, hey babies. Hi everyone, hi everyone, hi everyone. What's up, Callow? How you doing today? Happy Thursday, everybody.
Doing all right. Cap's got smoked again.
Right. I'll get to them in a bit. Let me start with the footballs, because you all love the footballs. So let's start with the footballs. How about your guy, Trey Hendrickson, going public now? He's decided, that's it. I'm done. I want to read some quotes that he gave. I don't think this means he's coming here, because I don't think he's getting traded here, because I think the number ballooned in a way that I don't think it's going to be hard to trade him now. But these are the things he said about the Bengals. And I guess yesterday, one of the higher-ups of the Bengals said that he needs to, at some point, be happy at certain rates that maybe he doesn't think he'd be happy at. And I think some of it is on him to be happy at some point. And if he's not, that's what holds it up sometimes. That was Katie Blackburn, who's the team's president. And so he goes on McAfee because he reads this, and he goes, through this process, communication, when I say it's been poor, it's been like here and there. And respect to Jamar and T, I don't want to take anything away from them. They're great. They've accomplished in their careers. They deserve everything they've gotten. I have a tremendous amount of respect for them. But when it comes to my situation, it would be nice to know in some ways, like, hey, are you going to put me in the queue? And I'd have no problem with that. And then he goes on to say this. That's where to read what I read yesterday was confusing. Like, it's my decision. I would have been willing to sign 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and this year. It was communicated to me that we would get something done this year, and reiterated with the director of player personnel, Duke Tobin's comments at the combine. I treat it like a house now. House value has gone up. It's the cost of living. In some ways, life continues to go forward. I know I'm a football player. I'm training to be the best I can be. And however this looks, whatever team, we can address that. And then he went on to kind of throw out there what is in this contract that at least have talked to him about that he doesn't want nothing to do with. Where he said, I don't think I want to play for incentives. That'll be out. I don't think I want to play on a short-term contract and see where it goes. I want to be able to tell my wife, here's where we're going to build our family together. He's officially done with them slow rolling his future with that team. So this will now ramp up with the draft a couple weeks away. It's either get something done or trade him, because he's clearly basically saying out loud, I don't think you respect me any longer. And I actually don't think that I think I'm going to have to hold out, because I'm not going to play on this contract this year.
Yeah, I mean, this is screaming that the Bengals want it to the public perception is going to be one thing, so they're going to say one thing, and he's going, we're not even close in what they're saying. And I'm not surprised here. You and I have discussed it. Like, they were going to get 2 of those deals done, and it was Chase and Higgins, and that's their choice. They've doubled down on offense, which, we'll see if that works out or not for them. But I'm not surprised this is the one they can't get done. I'm also not surprised the Bengals have been terrible publicly with this one as well. Like, the Bengals are not good at these negotiations or putting themselves in a good position to be the reasonable party in most cases with big contracts like this too. So I'm not surprised it's happening. And with Hendrickson, he has to do this now, because he knows there is somebody out there that needs an edge rusher before the draft and wants to, get on a new team before that ends up happening.
I mean, everything that was said prior was, okay, go find a trade, except that our demands are what everyone seems to be reporting are unreasonable to get him. I don't think anybody's giving up a first-round pick for him if they're going to have to pay him now upwards of, I don't know what the number is, because the Bengals are saying, we're giving you a number we think is fair. You need to be happy at that. He's saying, cost of living's gone up here, guys. This is your fault for not signing me in advance. Had you signed me in advance, there wouldn't be the Crosby deal. There wouldn't be the Garrett deal. That wouldn't have happened. The Parsons deal, it's clearly going to top those as well. Like, that wouldn't be out there, but that's your fault for not getting ahead of it. It's not my problem that this is what market value is. And they're saying, but we want you at a certain number. And because of those deals, that number got widened. Like, let's just say as of 2 months ago, he's saying 33 million, because Crosby's deal and Garrett's deal hasn't happened yet. right? And they're balking at that, saying it's really 28 or whatever the number is to them. Like, I'm guessing that's what the number is. And the chasm's just wide enough to keep this going. All of a sudden, these other deals come around and he goes, okay, 36. Like, you're going to put me, I'll hear you out. You're not going to put me up by Myles Garrett, but you are going to slot me now here. And they're going, whoa. That was nowhere near. You need to now be happy with a lot of money is what they're basically saying to him. And he's going, no, sorry, pal, it's not happening. And if you're going to publicly blast me for saying that I don't want to take market value deals, then I'm going to tell you, you're not offering me one of them.
No, this, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me a little bit of when Kirk Cousins was getting franchise tagged here in Washington. I think that number was like 24 million, which people balked at back then. Funny enough, it's like almost triple that at this point. But remember the way Kirk went was, oh, well, you franchise tagged me. So the first year of the contract has to start with 24 million. And remember, that's what was one of the huge hangups with him re-signing here in Washington was going, no, you were going to pay me that money and I want my contract on top of it. This is Hendrickson going, no, the number that you offered me at first isn't the number that it is now. Yesterday's price is literally not today's price because you guys waited too long between Crosby and Myles Garrett, and there was one other one in the middle of those two. But either way, like the rush end market reset itself, so you need to come back to the drawing board and come correct with your offer.
Yes, you need to come correct. Now, let's get around to why are we talking about this? Well, the Commanders were linked to him for a while.
Yeah.
That got real quiet. And honestly, at the price point now, I actually think this is going to dissuade his market. It's going to depress it even more because the reality is you're going to have to make him happy at that number, and you're going to have to give something that the Bengals want. As the price goes up, typically the compensation goes down, but they haven't at least publicly been willing to buckle on either side of those things, which leaves them in this mess where they got to do something. And I think this is one of those where I think everybody, including the Commanders, go, good luck with that. Like, we'd love to get him, but we want to get him at the right price with the right payment at the right number for him. And all of those things went haywire, and that's on you guys. So, hey, there's just no deal to be done. So while I would love to see a possibility of still re-engaging this now that it's bursting out into the open a little bit, all the signs read to me like this just is not happening here.
No, I think as you said, when that price goes up, the compensation has to go down, and that's not happening at the moment. The Bengals also don't know how to ever do this, work this market in a good way either. They've never been this team that's good at doing that. And so I don't foresee it happening here, mainly because I just don't think there's enough draft picks happening here. But I also don't see the Bengals being the team that lets him go for anything less than what they've already said at this point. They're in a stalemate with each other, let alone with everyone else in the league, if there is anyone else that actually is interested in him at this point.
Yeah. So I'm going with this ship is sailing. I would be shocked if he gets traded now. The number got too high. The compensation we think is still too high to get rid of him. I don't actually think they want to trade him. I think they do want to bring him back, but they're trying to get him to say yes to something that would be now under market value and probably was all along. It just got worse. So we'll see how that one plays out. I did a podcast yesterday with Kyle. I'm going to jump it a little bit here because we talked about some of these issues that I want to talk about with you that you're going to hear on this podcast, but I just won't go into the great detail that I did with Kai because I was like, it's a good idea. Like, let me just talk about this stuff this week off of Peters and Quinn spoke. You heard what they had to say. This is where the roster is now. We're only in phase one. They went through free agency. Drafts coming up next. We'll see. They have 5 picks on the board now. They are open to trading back if there's a partner. So maybe they end up with more. If not, they'll probably end up with 5 picks. Who knows? Maybe they trade somewhere else in the draft, whatever. Like, there's possibility that they'll have more than 5. We'll see. Then we'll see what they come out on the other side of it. And then phase 2, phase 3, second wave free agency will fill out the roster as they head into the season. And he asked me, he goes, what's their unfinished business? And I went, that's a very good question. What do they need to do as opposed to what are they going to do just to fill out the spots? And so I'll start with this one. Obviously, edge rush. However, this comes with a major caveat. I don't know how they're looking at this current group of players that they brought in, specifically Kinlaw and Wise. And do they think that there is kind of these larger, more athletic, unusual ends, like a 4 defensive tackle alignment, sort of like, well, not with Armstrong, Payne, Kinlaw, Newton, Wise, some of the other rotational players, maybe. I'm still not certain how they're looking at this position, but I will say of the things I expect them to address at some point, whether it's free agency or more likely the draft, I still think it's this, but that's without knowing how they're going to utilize the players that they have. And they actually have a very deep group of defensive linemen all of a sudden. They might not have any like massive game-changing playmakers, but they got a lot of good players now. So I'm not really sure how they're thinking about edge at this point.
Yeah, we call that quantity, not quality. That's what they have right now. That's what I would call it for right now on this unit. Like, could they get the job done? Sure, but nothing scares me along this defensive line at the moment. So it's not only unfinished business, I put it down as a weakness. And so I feel like they've got to take an edge rusher with one of those first 2 picks just to shore up the unit, because quantity and not quality doesn't get it done in this league. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. You need guys to step up and make playmakers. I wouldn't even call it unfinished business. I would say we're down to the studs at that position right now. So, yeah, that's the number one position that they need to make a move for.
Yeah, I agree. I will say this. I do think with the group that they brought in, I think they have addressed the rush defense problems of a year ago.
Yeah.
But have they gotten the game-changing third down pass rusher? No. They haven't, unless Kinlaw is going to become someone who becomes that kind of disruptive player, likely more from the middle of the line and not on the edge. I'm still waiting to see, do they move him around a little bit, but I'm more inclined to believe it's going to be in the middle of the line. So we'll see. I do think that is number one. Number 2, another receiver. So Kime brought this up, and I went, I don't know. Like, look at the group that they have. All of a sudden, they've got – they got Debo and McLaurin as the top 2. And then they brought back KJ Osborne, which I thought was interesting because he didn't play very much. Granted, he came in late in the year after he was waived by New England, but they brought him back immediately over Zacchaeus and Crowder. So there was something there. They liked what he did in Minnesota or whatever it is. They have him. They got Gallup coming out of retirement. Wait and see, but that is a complete, like, no-brainer, low risk. If it doesn't work out, you can cut him. He's not making any money. If it does work out, you've got an unbelievably cheap number 3 receiver. And then they brought back Noah Brown. They have those 3 players all making less combined than what De'Ami Brown got in Jacksonville for 1 year. All 3 of them are making less combined than what he has. So do they need another receiver? I'm not sure. Because, if you're looking at the draft and you're going, where are the needs? I wouldn't say that's the position any longer. But if the right one was there, I'll hear out, okay, as we think about going over the top with offensive weapons, okay, I'll hear it out.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this. If they have a round designation for the best wide receiver or running back that they're going to take, I'm fine with either position. I think you have to do the same thing that I said with running back. How many running backs are under contract after this upcoming season? 0. How many of their wide receivers are under contract? Well, Terry's technically a free agent. We know they talked about that. I don't think he's going anywhere, but Debo's going to be a free agent. If he has an amazing year, who knows what happens there? And then behind him, it's Luke McCaffrey, because he's on a rookie contract. So same thing. I look at contracts here and I go, it'll dictate, whoever is there, whoever's ranked higher, that they could take either one. And I'd be satisfied with either one, because you've got to get it done with running back this year. You can address it next year and probably be okay. But with wide receiver, it wouldn't shock me at all, because you have to look at what's coming down the pipeline. And honestly, how is your bread buttered with this team? It is on the offense. So you do have to look a little bit ahead here to see, okay, can we lock someone in? Does a wide receiver drop in the first round? And you just take the best guy, knowing full well that, hey, that's, one of the guys on, the wide receivers of the future, essentially. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they went running back, or if they went wide receiver over running back, for looking at those reasons.
I still feel like running back is screaming a need at this point. It just, every single one of them they have is on a 1-year contract. Eckler got injured a couple of times. Hopefully he'll be fine this year. Come back and be that kind of gadgety and in the middle of the line and a returner, all those things that he did for them a year ago. McNichols is a great number 3. B-Rob, he's back. They have him under contract, But are they looking to upgrade at the position? I'm not really sure. Do they need a more explosive player at the position? I would argue that they need more explosive players in general, but that's the position that screams now they got to do something about it. They kept Chris Rodriguez's rights, so he's going to be there to compete for sure. He's going to be there to compete and bare minimum probably end up on the practice squad again if he doesn't outright win a job from somebody. But more and more and more, knowing how good the class of running backs are, where they're sitting, it does feel like don't be surprised, because I know it's unusual to go that direction, but in their case, that might be the best player on the board. And I would describe it as a place where they can distinctly upgrade. And if they see somebody that Henderson from Ohio State, Hampton from North Carolina, Genty won't be there. If one of those guys is there, I actually think it's going to be hard to actually turn that down.
I'd make this argument, though, like your offense runs through number 5. Like even on 3rd and short, 4th and short, it was always Jaden Daniels with the ball in his hand. So what does an upgrade at running back actually do for you, overall in the course of a season?
Well, I mean, when they're on a rookie deal and they're not making much money and they're explosive players, potentially a lot,
Sure. Potentially, but I'm just saying in terms of versus a wide receiver too, though. Like I'm just saying if both are there, I'm saying I won't be surprised if they go wide receiver over running back, knowing how this offense runs. I'm with you. Like, if they got an explosive young running back, that'd be great. But at the same time, we all know who this runs through number 5. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they went wide receiver over running back if the opportunity presented itself.
Let's see. Secondary upgrades. So this one is unfinished business to me too, at least at corner and possibly at safety. Because I don't know, like, it was Jeremy Chin the one that got away, because that feels like a little bit like that's the one that got away, and they got an adequate replacement for him to be a starter in Will Harris. But I know they liked his physicality, his size, his range. He wasn't a perfect player. There were issues in coverage with him, but I know they really liked him, and that one got away from him. So all of a sudden, do they look at like this South Carolina safety whose numbers were popping off the board? If he were there, would they think that that's an upgrade for them? And then corner, I'm not overlooking it at this point. I mean, I know they traded for Lattimore. Sanderson's a hit. They got Igbenogany back to be depth bare minimum. And this, we'll have to see where Sanderson goes. Jones from New England, great veteran player, play inside or outside. We'll have to see how that plays out now. But I still feel like there might be one more coming there too, even though I think their starters are pretty much set. But there might be one more coming there too. And I wouldn't be surprised if the right one at the end of the first round is there for them to think about too.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all seen the mocks. We've seen them go safety. We've seen them go cornerback. I wouldn't be surprised if they went that way as well, just to shore up the position. I mean, all of a sudden, if you had a rookie cornerback and Mikey Sanders still, all of a sudden, you're kind of cooking there, especially if Lattimore does latch on this year too. You've got a pretty good unit there that you can move forward with. I'd be completely okay with that. I'm with you at safety. Safety feels like an incomplete right now. Like, edge rusher feels like that's a project, and we acknowledge that it's a project. Safety feels a little bit like, do we know what we have there yet? And I don't even think they really know. I could see them adding a safety in the mid-round too, or later on in the draft as well, just because that skill set usually does translate to a later pick.
The other hanging chad is offensive line. So the Tunsil trade, I think, opened the draft board for them to even have this conversation. Because honestly, had they not made that deal or not somehow got Ronnie Stanley in free agency or something, I think that they were going to have to go tackle in the draft at the end of the first round, because it was a glaring need that would then help them put Coleman wherever he ends up as a starter. He's a starter. The question is like wherever he ends up, whether it's guard or right tackle. But this doesn't mean that they're done, especially like in the second round. Like I look at that and I go, often the best interior offensive lineman can be found that high up in the draft, or that low really up in the draft. Special ones don't get there, but you can get good ones there. And if they were to go get a young guard, that wouldn't surprise me. Or if that Oregon tackle is there, do you consider that? Like, even though like it looks like the plan is kind of yelling out to you, that's not what they're going to do. They're going to put Coleman on the outside. So why would they draft a tackle? I don't know. Maybe if that when Dan Quinn said we're going to put him out at right tackle for now, maybe he meant let's see what happens in the draft, because if we draft a guy who's going to be a right tackle, Coleman is going to slot in at guard. So we'll see.
No, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me at all. And you put your best 5 out there. I mean, this is how this works. And go look at the Eagles. Like, they're continually adding to their offensive line. They add to their offensive line every single year, and they get to the point where a guy goes down and another guy steps up and they're completely okay. I'd love to be in that position. So, yeah, that's what wouldn't surprise me, I guess. I don't think they're taking an offensive lineman high. Like, yeah, maybe somebody drops.
I don't think so either. That's why I got to it last. I don't think so. I think the Tunsil trade changed that dynamic. And then hearing Quinn say Coleman is going to start at right tackle, well, I went, well, that's off the board. But you never know. You never know. The right guy's there. You never know.
Sure. I don't see it happening. If they do, it'll be another late round guy. I actually don't almost see them doing anything at offensive line in the draft at this point.
All right. One other football thing before I move on. How about your guy, Aaron Rodgers, who the owner of the Steelers, the owner says that's heading in our direction. So I don't know what that day was like with him and Tomlin and whatever talks that they had and discussions that they had. It feels like the logical place for him to go if Minnesota doesn't want him. I mean, if they wanted him, why aren't they going to get him? Or who knows? With him, it's kind of who knows. Cousins is laying in the weeds. He's sitting back there going, I got all this money no matter what. I would prefer to start for somebody. I will have to facilitate a trade. Clearly, nothing's come quickly. I also don't want to do what happened before, which is I went somewhere and they screwed me. I mean, they gave me the money, but they screwed me in terms of like they put a shadow over me immediately and made it like if I'm not good in year one, the guy's going to take over. It's exactly what happened. Rodgers' case, he's just roaming the earth looking for signs of where he should, pitch his tent. And honestly, like Pittsburgh all along, at least the last couple of weeks, once Minnesota seemed to kind of graciously bow out of all of it, I don't know how he doesn't pick them. So I don't know what stars have to align or what ayahuasca's got to take to come around to it. I feel like this is where he's going to end up. But I don't know what the holdup is. And because it's him, you never know what the holdup is. And if they're them, I got to tell you, like, they're sitting there standing at the altar for this guy. Be very careful because who knows with him and how he's thinking day to day about what to do. He could up and retire one day. You have no idea what he's going to do.
I mean, I think he's doing the same thing Cousins is doing. He's waiting till after the draft. I think the way the chatter has gone this week, too, on the draft, I don't know how much you've been paying attention, that Shador's value has dropped, like, significantly, that they're pretty much like...
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I think Orlovsky, though, I think it was Orlovsky that said he compared him to, like, Andy Dalton. So are we thinking that Shador goes to, like, the second round? And by the way, I want to say that about, like, that comparison. Even Kuiper piped up and said, Andy Dalton's had a great career. Like, don't disparage
That's right.
all the millions of dollars that he's made. He's still in the league. Like, was a starter. This isn't me disparaging Shador, but
you would not use a top 5 pick on him.
Correct.
But you would not use that's the point.
Yeah.
Yes, he had a great career. You'd love to have somebody like that. You do not use a top 5 pick on him. You use it on somebody who you think is franchise changing.
And so with that, I think what's happening here is I think multiple teams have probably said this, but I think the Steelers are one of them. They're going, if Shador's there in the second round, we might take him. And Rodgers is going, I don't want to deal with that because the first bad game I have, they're going to call for my head and call for him. I think he's waiting it out just to see what's happening here. And he can wait till after the draft. There's clearly not a market for him either.
That's right.
The Steelers also then have to weigh that, though. Do they reach for a guy like Shador? Like, do they go trade up and get Shador because he hasn't signed on? So I think it's a little bit of a game of chicken here. I think he's doing the same thing Cousins is doing. I think Schefter said this, that Cousins basically has said he's open for a trade just about anywhere if he's the starter. He's not doing what he did last year, though, and signing on, then having his replacement be drafted. So I think he's doing the same thing.
Shador is a tough prospect because of who he is, who his dad is, what the pedigree is. It's a very difficult prospect. It's different than most. Like in most cases, I would just be like, go watch him on tape. What do you think? Then go listen to him, get to know the guy. Like, and I saw some of the stuff from the combine where people were like, I don't like his personality, whatever. This is Deion Sanders' kid. And I'm like, the guy's a winner. And so I have no issues with that at all. And really actually do not think that any of that is really, to me, a problem. Not knowing him at all, obviously. But like, I have no concerns about any of that stuff with him. I go off of what I saw when he played. I don't think he is athletic enough to get away from an NFL pass rush early. He's going to have to get the ball out quicker. Otherwise, he is going to be a target to be sacked a lot. I've seen a lot of really great, accurate throws from him. I've seen a lot of really great moments from him. I think he's a good prospect, not a great one. So if someone does take him in the top 5, it is partially his name and bravado of what you're doing it over. Because if you watch him, you will not come to the conclusion that you think he's a tremendous, incredible prospect. However, I will hear out that because he's Deion's kid and because he did the things he did in college, he'll get better. And I'm open to believing he's going to turn into a really good NFL quarterback, but he is not a slam dunk the way Caleb was, Drake May was, Jaden was, Penix was. He doesn't look like those guys. So I know this is it's controversial because it's him, and everybody thinks you're just hating on him when you say that. But I think that's just the truth. And I think the people, in these positions who know are looking at it going, you know what? I'd take a shot with him, but I'm not putting my career on him and using the number 3 overall pick because I'm not sure he's that good of a prospect, honestly.
No, and I think Kuiper was kind of getting to this when he was, defending Orlovsky's comparison to Dalton. He was like, look, what's going to happen now, though, is the later he slides, the better chance he gets picked up by a team that knows what they're doing, right? So,
and a good team, yes.
Right. And so Kuiper was actually saying, like, Deion knows how this works too, that Deion's not going to pipe up and say anything if he falls back, because all of a sudden, if he's drafted by a playoff team or a team that, can groom him for a year or two to be the starter eventually, no one's going to bitch about that because Deion probably knows in the back of his mind he needs a little bit of seasoning and needs to learn how to be a pro a little bit. So that's why I kind of circle the Steelers here a little bit with him, because that's a good fit. Like, he'll slide in there with Tomlin. They probably wouldn't start him right away regardless. And I think that's why Rodgers ultimately isn't signing on, because he's worried about that name being behind him.
So, I mean, everybody's going to look at the Cowboys too. Like, they're looking for the replacement for Dak down the road. He wouldn't have to play this year. It screams that Deion could potentially become the head coach down there at some point, which Jerry may or may not actually be interested in. Who knows, right? And then some of the others I would watch, some of these better teams that are looking for a transition in a year or two, I think he could be helpful to them if he's willing to sit back and watch. And then, I want him to slide. He's the one that I look at and I go, well, somebody might move into the first round to get him. If he actually gets to 29, this is the point where someone might call Peters and go, we want to get him, and allow them to slide back and get an extra draft pick or 2 or whatever it is to go back into the second round. That's like that to me. That's the scenario I want. I want him or Jackson Dart being there at the end of the first round. And someone just goes, we got to jump somebody to get him. We got to get it. We'll get the 5th-year option. He's not going to get to us, so we got to do it. And that, I think, that's the scenario I'm hoping happens for the Commanders at the end of the first round.
No, I mean, that'd be the best case scenario. I've been saying it all along. Somebody's going to get enamored with that last year of the contract and hopefully trade and get that pick. And all of a sudden, they get a couple more picks for the next day, which I think is what we all really want at the end of the day anyways.
Yeah, I mean, and you really want to do it with a quarterback because you want to have, like, with every other position, it is what it is. But with that one, the most team control you can get is beneficial for you, especially if he becomes what you think he could be. If he becomes a star, that extra year saves you $50 million on your cap.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't mean it's going to happen, but if it does, it's just an enormous win for you organizationally to keep your window open with someone like that. All right, let me take a quick break. Brad Boston Show, ESPN 630 Sports Capital.
Lowe's is the destination for Ego outdoor power equipment this spring. See what's new and exclusive, like the 17-inch string trimmer with Line IQ technology that auto-feeds to save you time, and the 22-inch Select Cut self-propelled mowers with a multi-blade system for precise cutting. Shop Ego Days, happening now during Spring Fest at Lowe's. We help, you save. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
All right, welcome back. Kevin Willard says it's time to move on, guys. It's just time to move on. He doesn't want to hear it anymore. Old news. What happened a week ago is just old news. And sorry, I got to go. And you people who are sitting over there just crying going on the SVP pod, crying all day long about what's going on over there in Maryland and saying I'm a terrible person, you better get over it real quick. Time to move on, guys.
Kevin, last time I checked, it officially became official at like 2 a.m. Sunday morning. So you're saying after 4 days, less than 4 days, it's just time for everyone to move on. That dude's a narcissist. I'm sorry. Like, there's no other better way to say it. That dude's crazy in the worst way. Like, and he just doesn't know how to handle any of these situations. No. But like, for you to go and drop that, like, oh, I'm excited and they have buzz now and I'm excited for him. It's time to move on. Guy, after 4 days, no, it's not actually. Like, not like any situation. Like, come on, man. What are we doing here?
What's the Barstool fight show called again? What is that one?
Rough and Rowdy. Rough and Rowdy.
I want him versus Dan Hurley in that. I want to see who wins that one. Those two both come off to me as massive crazy pantses. Both of them.
Yeah, agreed. But
one of them also wins a ton.
One of them seems worth the headache, is what I was about to say. Yeah, and this dude. Oh, let's move on. Everyone, get over it. The body's still warm, bro. Like the smoke is still coming out of the AD's office. Let's like calm down with that.
This was his quote. I think some of my comments during the NCAA tournament probably could have been a little less abrasive. Unfortunately, sometimes when my passion for my program, my passion for my players comes out, I get a little excited. The only thing I'm going to say is normal fans just don't understand what went on. And for those who are at Maryland who have hurt feelings, he said, I think it's just time for everybody to move on. I love that one. Normal fans. You normals don't know what's going on here. How could you possibly weigh in on such a complicated situation that I tried to lay out in public before the NCAA tournament started with the best team Maryland's had in 10 years?
It's the biggest oxymoron of all time. Fan is short for fanatic. So normal fanatics, that doesn't exist. Everybody's weird in their own way when it comes to being a fan. And by the way, this is the same dude that said, oh, I don't regret any way that I've handled this. And now we're saying, oh, maybe I was a little too abrasive. Yeah, maybe because you thought about it for 2 seconds, dummy, that you decided that I shouldn't have said what I said because you made it all about yourself instead of this really good team that you were coaching. This guy doesn't know how to handle anything. Good luck. No. Good luck at Villanova for the next 3 years because I don't think you're going to last through it.
So here's what he said about the press conference stuff, too. And this is incredible, too. Incredible double talk because – give me a break, guy. We know that this deal is in place, like way in advance of all of this. There's no like that. The whole, I haven't talked to my agent or my wife about it. And then like 3 minutes later, you're bolting and going out the door. Guy, it doesn't work like that. We're not stupid. But so that's why everybody's mad because he like set the house on fire and then ran the other way and didn't call the fire department. Like it was terrible what he did. It's awful. So this is what he said about that. He goes, everything I said during the press conference was because I loved Maryland. I was very passionate about my job. Very simply, all I wanted to do was try to get the best for my players and the best for the program. I'm going to do the same thing here at Villanova. My comments were just about having an opportunity to try to make Maryland the best program we could make it. Yeah, but you were leaving.
Make Maryland great again.
You don't air the dirty laundry when you're leaving. You don't do that.
I think SVP said it best on his rant, which is amazing. If you haven't, just go to Twitter and it's there. And SVP said it best. He was like, dude, you could have told us it was your family. Could have told us you wanted to be closer to Jersey. Like, I think SVP said it too. He said, we're not savages. Just tell us the reason. But instead, you went full napalm on the organization and had people try to bend the knee to you moving forward and giving you what you wanted, knowing full well you were never going to actually sign on. And that's where we all have the problem with. You didn't want the best for your players. You wanted the best that you could get, which is fine, but don't napalm the place on the way out. And by the way, don't tell me to just get over it 4 days later. That's even worse. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's even worse than anything he said. Like, oh, don't worry about it. Everyone move on. No, stop.
That's right. Time to, but yeah, I didn't do anything really that wrong. I was actually trying to do stuff like, he's like, I was actually trying to do you a favor. Like, oh, were you? Thanks. I didn't see it that way, but maybe I'm wrong in how I assessed it. Oh, I got it. I got it all wrong. That's what I hate. God, modern communication is wrong, and I know it. I'm going to tell you I did nothing wrong, and even if I did do something wrong, I'm never going to admit to it, and I'm going to double down and tell you I still did nothing wrong, and you're stupid. It's so crazy.
It's narcissistic behavior. It's not what it looks like, guys. It's not what it looks
Ridiculous.
like. Even though it is exactly what it looks like the whole time.
Exactly what it looks like. Exactly what it looks like. Somebody put some tweet up and it was like the political speech these days. It's like, here are the 5 stages of what happens. It's like, this happened. Ooh, be a snowflake about it. I don't care that you're a snowflake about it. We're still right. F you. Those are like the 5 stages of communication now. And I hate that it's boiled down to sports. This guy is right in line with all of that. It's absurd. There's just zero. Maybe he does have a recognition he did wrong. He's just never going to say it.
That's right.
He's going to pretend like he did. Or it's the other side, which is he doesn't think he did anything wrong, that's full on nuts. If you're Villanova and you hear that, you go, hey, man, we love that we got you. We wanted to get you here. We think you're great, but you didn't have to do what you did to Maryland on the way out. That was a little much. And that's a little scary for us now that we're married.
Yeah, I mean, that's pick your poison. Either he knows what he's doing and he's actively lying, or he doesn't know what he's doing and he's completely oblivious. Pick your poison. I mean, that's bad either way you put it.
Yeah, coach angry oblivious. Yeah. Good luck with that.
Right.
Wait till he loses to Hurley in some high leverage Big East game and Hurley's shaking his fists and flipping off the fans in Philadelphia. And then he's got to go explain this. And he's just huffing and puffing. And he's like, he's just going to be manic and crazy. And then he's going to say something that's completely off the wall. Right? The best part about this is actually, and this is fun for me now because he's a villain. He's a villain. I'm actually glad he's gone. I don't want him to be there. If he didn't want to be there, I don't want him here. We don't take hostages around here. Secondarily, your complaints were a little out of line, sir. So you need to go. Well, you just went to the place that you handpicked that is giving you literally everything you want. And by doing what you did, you have basically stated, I'm exactly where I need to be. You better win, pal. You better win. And you better win big up there if you're going to take this attitude with a Big Ten program and go, it's so much better here. Okay, let's see it. I can't wait because you'll come up with excuses and then tell me over and over you have these excuses, but they won't ring true to me down here any longer because you made your bed on this one. You made your bed, buddy.
I'm going to throw a free bone here. If I am the folks at Georgetown who now have a better relationship with the people with Maryland, right? They have smoothed things over. They've scheduled games in the future. If I'm Georgetown, I'm waiting till Villanova is on the schedule. And I'm saying, you guys want tickets? You guys want some free tickets? Student section, you want to come down to Cap One? We'll get you in the door. I think this would actually be a fun one to do of we don't ask for your support often, but Villanova's coming to town tonight, and you know who's coaching that guy, right? And Maryland fans are petty enough that I think they would do it. So if I'm Georgetown, I'm kind of thinking outside the box whenever that game happens next year.
I think it would be incredible. That whole stadium could be wearing red. They're going to play Rock and Roll Part 2, and they're going to scream, let's go Hoyas the whole time. That would be magical. Absolutely magical.
I'm just saying, people, not the students themselves because they are in their own bubble, but DMV Hoops fans, we all know when Georgetown's good, it's really good around here. When Maryland's good, it's really fun around here. When George Mason, American, everybody, Howard, the list goes down. We want everybody to be good. If I'm Georgetown, I am marketing the crap out of this game next year and just going hey, show us your Maryland student ID. You get in for free tonight. I'm going all in on leaning against Willard. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yes. I want a Georgetown Villanova game and the whole stadium's wearing red.
Yes. 100%.
It was the visual of it would be just incredible.
Yeah.
And then we're all Hoyas fans that night. Big time. Anyway, Buzz Williams showed up, did a press conference, said the right things for sure. He knows how to say the right things. That's for sure. Because he walked in and he said, I got no issue with what's going on around here. I like the NIL situation we got. I like the revenue split stuff we're talking about. I don't know what that guy's talking about. I actually like what's going on here, which is obviously the right thing to say because you wanted it. And yesterday I'm sitting there going, why did he want this? They don't even have an AD in place. Why a situation with so much uncertainty standing around you? Yeah,
I mean, the only thing I think of is they're going, this is the direction we're going to go. And, we're going to get someone in here, but this is what the direction is going to be. And I'm sure it's probably good enough, I guess. I think I said this yesterday too. The talk with him too was he was dropping hints that he wanted out of A&M for like the last 2 seasons anyways. So at the end of the day, this is one that fit for right now. Is it the right call? I don't know, but I do know it's probably going to stabilize the program for right now.
Yeah, I saw someone also tweet out because, he's moved around to major job, throughout his career. And he's going to he's going to get tired of this one too, especially if Willard's right and they don't have the resources that are necessary, or he needs to be able to get, it's not just the resources. You got to be able to get the players too. Everybody's money's the same, guy. You're going to have to be able to recruiting still matters. You still got to be able to bring people in. But somebody tweeted out something yesterday where they were like, Gary Williams coached X amount of years Boston College, X amount of years Ohio State, X amount of years American University, and then stayed at Maryland forever. The difference here is Gary Williams played at Maryland, loves Maryland, bleeds Maryland, is literally turning into a turtle before our eyes.
Didn't go anywhere else.
Yeah, that. It's the only place he ever wanted to be. It is the destination job. Buzz can say that, but no one's going to believe him. And it's not like he went to Maryland or was a lefty assistant years ago or anything. He wasn't anything like that. So, so that I don't think that it's apples to apples really with that, but I do hope, I'm rooting for him. He is a very good coach. He said all the right things yesterday. Still think that thing's a mess over there. Still not totally sure why he wanted this job right now, considering just right now what's going on with the infrastructure around the administration. But he's here now, so he's my guy. I got to like him. Way better than that crazy Willard dude. Way better.
No, absolutely. I mean, like I said, stabilization, I think, is the word that I use with Buzz Williams. By the way, one thing I will say is this. We have not gotten a picture of Buzz Williams with our friend Kevin Sheehan. I think they look very similar. I need them to take a picture. I think they need to take a picture next to each other because I saw a picture of Buzz with the glasses yesterday, and I thought, is that Kevin? Because it looked a lot like Kevin. So I feel like we need that picture to happen at some point.
I like the Buzz Sheehan show. That's a good name.
Sheehan and Buzz.
Sheehan and Buzz. Sheehan and Buzz is drive time somewhere. Sheehan and Buzz is drive time. Where is that? Memphis? Where is that?
No, that's
Chattanooga. I think Sheehan and Buzz is a Chattanooga drive time radio show.
Sounds about right. Yeah, that's about right. I'll take that one.
Yeah, that would be a good one. All right, I'll be right back. Ray Buzz's show is at 6:30 Sports Capital. March Madness is here, and every game has a chance to cash in. From the first tip-off to the Final Four, every night promises high-stakes matchups, wild finishes, big-time betting opportunities. And MyBookie's Bet and Get is back to sweeten the deal. Place a cash bet on March Madness and get a surprise reward. Free bets, cash back, bonus clips. You never know what's coming next. Whether it's a number one seed rolling or an underdog shocking the world, smart bettors know the real money is made one game at a time. Listen up. Sign up now with promo code MM50, and you can boost your bankroll with a deposit bonus designed to help you make the most of your money. If you don't want a bonus, that's okay too. Just make sure you let them know that we sent you. Bet on every game, anytime, from anywhere, only with MyBookie. Use promo code MM50.
The spirit of innovation is deeply ingrained in America, and Google is helping Americans innovate in ways both big and small. The Department of Defense is working with Google to help secure America's digital defense systems, from establishing cloud-based zero-trust solutions to deploying the latest AI technology. This is a new era of American innovation. Find out more at g.co/American innovation.
It's tourney time, and with FanDuel's Dog of the Day, you can get a daily profit boost during the College Conference Championships to bet on any underdog. So get ready to celebrate some upsets.
No one saw that coming, except for me, baby.
21 plus and present in select states. Opt-in required. Minimum plus 100 odds required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, welcome back. Well. The record is on again. Alex Ovechkin scored last night, the lone goal in a terrible game against Carolina, but he is now 3 goals, a hat trick away from passing Wayne Gretzky. So in the next few days, maybe, he's going to tie him, possible, and then we'll get to 3. So it's looking like it's really on. I haven't checked secondary prices yet. I am wondering what's going on out there for people trying to get into these buildings. A friend of mine did send me a note and was like, you should try to go or you should get tickets. And I go, Here's the one issue I have with that, because you're going to pay a premium for it. You know, the next night he's going to break it again, right?
Well, yeah, but it's not
that's
the same,
the weird
though.
part of this. Like, his last goal is going to be the most interesting one that you're going to get to, because every time he scores within a week will be a new record after that.
I mean, sure, but it's not the moment, and you know it. Like, when Cal Ripken broke the all-time games record, like, no one said, "Oh, the next day." Like, I want to be there for that one. Yeah,
he does a lap again around Camden Yards.
Right. Like, it's not happening every night. So, I mean, I will push back on that argument. What I'll say is, when it comes to this record, I think he's got it by Sunday afternoon. I said last week he needed to score 3 goals in these last 3 games, whichever way you do it. And all he did was score 1 goal in each game. So, by the way, Alex Ovechkin, 3-game goal scoring streak at the moment right now, too. And look, it's who they're playing the next 2 games that really should have you kind of ready to go that he's going to do this. They play the Blackhawks on Friday. The Blackhawks are god-awful. Remember last time he needed to get past the record, he scored a hat trick against them. He did it in like a period and a half, too. They're so bad. So I think between
that good. If he breaks this with a hat trick, that's unfreaking believable.
I mean, would you be surprised, though? It's what he does. I mean, that's like what he does all the time. So that's why I think everyone is piping up here. And I told you, he does superhuman things when it's in reach. So if he does do it against the Blackhawks, I think he does it against the Islanders. They play the Islanders on Sunday. I think those 2 opponents dictate that he's going to do this by the end of the weekend. That's just my prediction. If he doesn't, don't kill me for it. But I think between those 2 opponents, he'll do it.
Blackhawks are here. Islanders here or up there?
No, Islanders are up there at 12:30. It's a noon punch up.
12:30.
Yeah.
Break the record 12:30.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so dying for him to do it on home ice, and now, I mean, they're in kind of a weird spot where they can think about that. I mean, if I'm him, Friday night, I'm going for a hat trick. Like, go for it. You're playing a really bad team. You get one early, it's on. Like, you get one early, it's on. God, do you want to hold back if you're on the road? That's going to be weird how they think about this. Do they want it to happen on home ice? Do they care where it happens? I wonder how they feel about that.
Well, and like what happened yesterday, too, I guess when he got within a certain number, they were flipping some things around. Like, yesterday he scored in the first period, but they were going to lose. Like, we haven't gotten into the game, but they were losing 3-1, and they looked like the worst team yesterday. They go down, and then they lose, and all chaos breaks loose in this game. And then Alex Ovechkin was doing the solo press conference yesterday. He's doing a solo presser after every game now. So they're doing that with him. And I was like, oh, God, I didn't realize this is what was happening with him. I think he's going to try to get this done fast as possible, because I don't think he wants to sit up there after every game and answer the same freaking questions that he's been answering for, honestly, 2 years now at this point. So I think there's motivation for him to just get this over with at this point.
All right. Last thing, Logan Thompson got hurt last night.
Yeah.
You were concerned about how he was going lately anyway. Now he's hurt. It's hockey. They're just going to call it upper body injury, so you're not going to know what it is. But he got hurt, and they did not look good last night. So this is the 3rd time in like 4 games now. It hadn't looked that great for them.
For Thompson, the guess here, this isn't me reporting, the guess here is he took a puck up high and his helmet popped off in the first period. So they might, not the guess, but the speculation is that it could be a concussion, that maybe the NHL grabbed him in between periods, and maybe that's the case. If that is the case, I'd say he's probably going to be shelled for a week, which, fine. I mean, they're getting ready for the playoffs, but I was concerned about him already. I'm concerned about if you got to start with Lindgren. We know we like Lindgren, but he's not Thompson when he's on his game. Yesterday was a little bit of a disaster all the way around, between goaltending, how they played against the Hurricanes, how the end just turned into brawls that I've never seen before with this version of the team too. This was a team, in my opinion, that their frustration started to boil over in the 3rd period yesterday, that they know they're not playing their best hockey at the moment. And it sucks to go this route, but this happens all the time in hockey. You and I have seen it a million times. Sometimes you peak too early, and then you start grinding at the end of the year, and all of a sudden your momentum is starting to fleet a little bit. I can't help but get that feeling a little bit right now with the Caps, that they are not playing up to the standard that we're used to this entire season, especially against a team like Carolina that, you're clear of them, but you want to take care of business, because if the Caps win their first round series and the Hurricanes win their first round series, they're playing each other. That's a guaranteed play each other second round series you want to establish that you can hang out with them. And so they play each other next Tuesday, so we'll see what happens. But yesterday was not encouraging moving forward into the playoff picture.
It was a really bad start. All right, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. Brad Boss Show, ESPN 630, The Sports Capital.